Mount Fuji, the iconic symbol of Japan, celebrated for its nearly perfect symmetrical cone shape. It's a sight that stirs admiration and inspiration in anyone who sees it. But what if I told you that some people see it as more than just a mountain? They claim that Mount Fuji resembles something unexpected, a giant mushroom. Now, I know that might sound a bit strange, but there's more to this than meets the eye. So, let's dive in and explore this quirky idea together. Standing majestically at over 3,700 meters, Mount Fuji is one of the world's most famous volcanoes, instantly recognizable and revered for its natural beauty. But why do some people think it looks like a mushroom? And is there more to this idea than just its shape? As we journey through this comparison, we'll uncover whether there's any truth to the idea of Mount Fuji being a giant mushroom, or if it's all just an amusing coincidence. But before we get too deep into the mushroom theory, let's set the stage by understanding Mount Fuji's complex formation and its current appearance. You see, Mount Fuji is more than just a single volcanic cone. It's actually a composite volcano. What does that mean? Well, rather than being a simple single eruption, Mount Fuji's iconic shape was created over thousands of years by numerous eruptions, each one layering more lava, ash, and rock on top of what came before. Think of it like a geological lasagna. Interestingly, many people assume that Mount Fuji is a perfectly symmetrical cone from every angle. And while it does look incredibly uniform, especially from a distance, a closer inspection reveals it's not quite as perfect as you might think. There are ridges, valleys, and unique formations that give it an intricate texture. Details you might miss if you only view it from afar. But this slight irregularity doesn't take away from its beauty. In fact, it adds depth to its story. Now, let's get back to the mushroom theory. One reason for the comparison is that Mount Fuji's wide base and narrow top can resemble a mushroom's cap and stem, particularly when viewed from certain perspectives. This shape, seen in both mushrooms and mountains, is actually rooted in science. Mount Fuji, being a stratovolcano, is formed from layer upon layer of lava and ash. Over time, the buildup of these layers created its unique, rounded shape. This shape isn't random. It's the result of natural forces working over millennia to balance stability and height. Now, if you think about it, mushrooms are also known for their impressive growth. Some species seemingly shoot up overnight, towering over other plants on the forest floor. And while Mount Fuji certainly didn't form overnight, the similarities between the two structures are striking. Both Fuji and mushrooms expand outward to spread their weight over a larger area, creating a balance that prevents collapse. For a mushroom, this shape allows it to release spores widely. For Mount Fuji, the shape helps distribute the weight of accumulated volcanic layers, creating stability. This connection might be coincidental, but it shows us something fascinating. Nature often repeats certain patterns, even in vastly different contexts. Another factor in this comparison is Mount Fuji's steep slopes, which accentuate its resemblance to a mushroom cap. When you look at it from afar, it's almost as if it's sprouting from the earth, much like a mushroom pushes through soil. But make no mistake, Fuji's roots go deep. Unlike a mushroom, Fuji is anchored to the Earth's crust, built on a foundation formed through explosive volcanic activity over thousands of years. But is there anything in Japanese culture that connects Mount Fuji and mushrooms more deeply? In Japanese folklore, mushrooms are seen as sacred symbols of nature, wisdom, and even resilience. In some stories, they represent a bridge between the natural and supernatural worlds. Mount Fuji, too, holds a sacred place in Japanese culture. For centuries, it's been a spiritual site for pilgrims and a muse for artists, representing endurance and the awe-inspiring power of nature. This cultural significance might be why some find it appealing to see a connection between the two, even if scientifically they're worlds apart. Let's pause and look at why people are so drawn to make comparisons between natural structures. Part of it could be our tendency to see familiar shapes in nature, Our minds are wired to find patterns, even where none may truly exist. The idea that Mount Fuji looks like a mushroom is just one example of this. In reality, there's no biological link between a volcano and a fungus. Mount Fuji's formation is purely volcanic, shaped by molten rock and tectonic forces, while a mushroom grows from organic matter and soil. So, is Mount Fuji a giant mushroom? Well, scientifically speaking, the answer is a definite no. But the resemblance, even if only in shape, is undeniably intriguing. And maybe, just maybe, that resemblance adds a little extra magic to both. It's a fun reminder that sometimes nature's shapes and forms can echo each other across different worlds. In the end, the idea of Mount Fuji as a mushroom might just be a quirky metaphor, but it's also a reminder of how diverse and wonderful the natural world is. The similarities we see between different structures in nature often stem from fundamental principles, like balance, stability, and growth. From mushrooms in a forest to mountains rising on tectonic plates, nature repeats patterns that work, no matter the scale or the setting. So, what do you think? After hearing all of this, does Mount Fuji still look like just a mountain to you? Or can you see a bit of that mushroom resemblance? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're as fascinated by volcanic formations as I am, stick around, because in our next video, we'll explore some of the world's most unusual and mind-boggling volcanoes. You won't want to miss it. See you there.